What's up guys, it's Joe Costello from CostelloFitness.com, and today I'm here to talk to you about intermittent fasting. Did you know intermittent fasting has been shown to increase testosterone levels by up to 180%? More after, it has even been proven to allow your body to produce 5 times more human growth hormone. This combination of naturally stimulated testosterone boosting and HGH spiking is able to effectively maximize fat loss and lean muscle production simultaneously. However, it only works if you do everything scientifically. Intermittent fasting is not a theory, it's a science. Here's how my scientifically formulated intermittent fasting plan works. Every day you spend 16 out of the 24 hours fasting. That means no food whatsoever. This is called your fasting window. Then you get an 8-hour feeding phase in which you can eat 2 to 3 large meals, but what most people miss is that you can't just eat whatever you want. The meal you break your fast with is extremely important. You need to be sure to break your fast with a high protein, low carb meal, such as a chicken breast or a protein shake. You also need to make sure you end your fasting window with a high protein and high fiber meal to keep your stomach full for as long as possible. During your fasting period, you reach extremely low insulin levels. The more time you spend in this low insulin state, the more fat you're able to mobilize and burn off, especially from stubborn areas like your stomach and love handles. This is why I recommend a 16-hour fasting period as opposed to what most people recommend, which is only a 12 to 14-hour fasting period. So now that you know how my plan works, you're probably thinking, how am I supposed to make it through 16 hours without eating any food? Well, it's actually much easier than it sounds if you do everything right. Remember, you'll spend half of those 16 hours asleep, which means you only need to get through 8 hours of fasting while awake. Here are 7 tips to help get you through your fasting phase. Fasting phase tip number 1, drink black coffee. I know what you're thinking, that sounds like a pretty basic tip, but let me explain why it's absolutely crucial if you're going to succeed with intermittent fasting. First off, black coffee is an extremely powerful appetite suppressant, but more importantly, coffee contains high amounts of peptide YY, which is literally a satiation hormone. Therefore, by drinking black coffee, you are effectively signaling to your brain that you're not hungry. Your brain is obviously thinking you are since you've been starving yourself, but through the consumption of peptide YY, you're able to trick your brain that you're not hungry and you no longer feel hunger as a result. Fasting phase tip number 2, drink green tea. Green tea contains a high concentration of what's called EGCG, which increases your body's levels of cholecystokinin, thereby triggering the satiation response in your brain. Additionally, EGCG stimulates norepinephrine production. Norepinephrine is technically a catecholamine, which means it causes fat to be released and utilized as an energy source. Fasting phase tip number 3, drink apple cider vinegar because it contains acetic acid, which increases your mineral uptake in your body. Since you're fasting, you're not taking in calories, which means you are not taking in minerals either, and that can be bad. However, through acetic acid, you are able to effectively utilize minerals that you took in from previous meals, thereby upping your mineral intake without increasing calorie intake. Fasting phase tip number 4, drink sparkling water to curb your appetite. It has been scientifically proven to suppress hunger. Fasting phase tip number 5, make sure you get 8 hours of sleep every night. Studies have shown that if you don't get 8 hours, you wake up 25% hungrier. Fasting phase tip number 6, at the end of your feeding phase, consume a lot of fiber. This will help you feel full for a much longer period of time. Fasting phase tip number 7, do not forget to drink lots of water during your fasting window. Clinical studies have shown that water triggers the same satiation mechanisms as food within your body. In other words, drinking water makes you feel full in the same way that eating food does. You obviously won't feel as full as you do after eating, but drinking lots of water really helps in a major way. Well, that's the end of my intermittent fasting guide. Thanks for watching, guys, and make sure to click the link and check out CostelloFitness.com for more fitness tips and guides.